Hey everybody, welcome back to 1 Minute Walking Tours. Like I said, here we're doing Seneca Village in Central Park. For many years, it was believed that this was the cornerstone to All Angels Church, one of 4 churches in Seneca Village. Unfortunately, it was discovered that this was a sandbox installed in the 1930s. However, this actually does mark the spot of the All Angels Church. And the thing about Seneca Village is it was removed to make way for all of Central Park. So the building, All Angels Church, was actually picked up. This is the only known photograph of it. And it was moved over towards 11th Avenue. Now that church, the congregation still exists, but it's obviously not here anymore. That was rather disappointing to all of us who at one point in our lives thought we knew, well, I know where the Seneca Village remains are. Unfortunately, that's not true. What is true is that Seneca Village was an independent village populated mostly by free blacks and Irish immigrants towards the end of its time in the 1840s, looking at potato famine and so forth. You had a couple of choices if you came to New York City and you were very poor or didn't speak the language. You could live down in the dangerous areas of 5 Points, Lower East Side, or you could make your way up to an area like Seneca Village, which has had probably about 1,000 rotating citizens, about 26 buildings, 4 churches. Many people up here owned property, involved in their own business ventures. They owned land, and they were free, absolutely free from the behemoth about 8 miles from here. But unfortunately, you can't leave the good things alone. And it was decided in 1855 or so that the city needed a park, and it needed a monumental park because this is a monumental city, and Central Park was built. Central Park was mostly, swamps and unpleasantness, and there was Seneca Village, and the city claimed eminent domain, meaning that they owned all of this island and they were going to get what was theirs no matter what they did. They still do that to this day. That happened out in Coney Island. There was eminent domain, and they destroyed one of the last few bits of the original steeplechase. But what they did discover, when they discovered that was a sandbox, they discovered the home of the Wilsons. They uncovered a lot of artifacts. Wilson was the rectory for the church here. This is where his house would have been. And what's interesting about this is not necessarily how they got rid of the building, because they demolished it to make way for the park. There's a playground up here. There's the main lawns and things. They just took down the top structure. They recycled the wood, filled it in, and everyone said, hey, presto, no problem. So they actually discovered the cellar, and they actually discovered other bits of the Wilsons' home. And clearly they had a pretty good life. They discovered pieces from the original church. They had a lot of physical needs and all those sorts of stuff. And they had to move with everybody else. A lot's been made of the fact that it was one of the few independent black-owned, if you will, operated, lived-in pieces left on Manhattan as the city comes forward. But I get the feeling that had anyone simply been in the way of progress as it was seen, they would have brushed them aside. And that's what's happened to any number of sort of micro neighborhoods in New York City, Woodlawn being an Irish holdout. And speaking of Irish holdouts, towards the end of its time before Central Park, this area had changed its nickname from Seneca Village, which is its actual name, to Pigtown, because it was now full of Irish immigrants. I'm not sure how that happened, but I don't know. Pigtown seems perfectly fine to me, but I think that's more appropriately a name for Chicago. So we'll do a little bit more of Central Park, but honestly, you could spend forever giving tours just of Central Park. It's an amazing spot, and it's filled with history just like everywhere else. Even that horrible Diana Ross concert, and even worse, Garth Brooks was here once. And these tight pants, don't wear tight pants places, Garth Brooks, especially to Central Park. Well, anyway, have a good day, stay safe, and we'll see you soon here on 1 Minute Walking Tours.